Hey, welcome back, guys. Sales Unscripted podcast with Margaret Henney.
And Bryan Neal.
Hey, it's another Monday, guys, so we're back at it.
Monday voice is a thing, isn't it?
Monday voice is a thing.
Monday voice is a thing. And I wasn't like, not out boozing or anything. I just had a nice, relaxing weekend, but I'm listening to my voice. I'm like, I got Monday voice.
I even I remember you told me, you're like, check your intent on Monday, or not your intent, check your energy on Mondays.
Totally.
Which is true. And I'm like, oh, I don't have a problem with energy. But even my Margaret Henney energy still needs to be checked. So I went to the gym.
See, that's great.
But I haven't talked to anybody yet.
That's
so this
great.
is like the first words I've spoken.
You're saving your voice. You're like Elle King. Do you know what Elle King is?
No, I don't.
Margaret.
Should I?
Yes.
Am I outing myself about something?
There's a generation gap here, and I always am perplexed when it's a your generation musician and you don't know him, and I do.
Oh, well, I'm not that.
She sings
I'm
the
not
song
that
X's
cool.
and O's.
Oh, okay.
X's and O's,
I know that song.
X's
Yeah.
and O's, that one. Yeah, Elle King. She's on tour, and she's struggling. I love this. She's on tour right now. She's struggling with sickness with her voice. She's taking steroid shots in her wazootie. She put this out there.
What?
Because that's what they do. And she will not cancel her show. And she thought her, isn't that a scientific name? Scientific name for buttocks. Is wazootie. But I admire that she's not canceling her shows.
Yeah, she's barreling through.
She is. Adele, and I love Adele too.
Yeah.
Adele canceled all of her stuff.
I know. She just felt like she wasn't
weird.
ready for it.
Feels like there's something there.
Well, it's hard because, like, on one hand, like, okay, you got to keep your promises to your fans. They made plans, whatever, all that sort of thing. But, they also have to take care of themselves.
Truth. I know.
Like, you are putting out so much energy and burning so many calories every day. I mean, like, I can't even imagine how they have to. How did rock stars do it back in the day when they were like doing a bunch of blow and crazy stuff like that?
I agree. Sometimes in my other job, you have this huge high, and you're in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and you're doing all your stuff. And I'm not even like in the show. And then you come back to your hotel and you're totally by yourself. It's a very strange feeling. It's a very, very, you go from 10 to 0.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that a bit. So speaking of generation gap, let me ask you this. I was taught something that I did not like, psychological tool that you would use in selling. And I was with someone on Friday who was my age.
Okay.
And he was doing it to me.
You
and
knew
it was
it right
very
away.
uncomfortable for me.
Did you call it out?
I didn't.
Or did you just notice?
It's kind of like a cat toy thing.
Okay.
I'm not a cat guy, but that's like when you mess with the cat, like with laser.
With the laser,
I love that.
Exactly.
It's called mirroring. Have you heard of mirroring?
I have.
Like mirroring. So basically, if you cross your arms, I cross my arms.
Yes.
And if you nod, I nod. And if you move in, I move in. We do this together. You
Oh
see
my
the
gosh.
videos.
Okay, that's fine. I know. I can't stop doing it now. Okay, so this is... Okay,
so I just noticed. So we were just, we met Friday. It was or Thursday afternoon. It was kind of a happy hour thing. Connector meeting. Really great guy. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
But I just felt that mirroring going on. So I was sitting a certain way, and then he sat the way I sat, and it was a little awkward. And so then I moved. So now it's a game for me. I'm like, okay, we're gonna see if we're mirroring. So I lean back. He leans back. We cross arms. Hand on the chin, hand on the chin. And I think some people were taught to do it, and they do it subconsciously now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And I don't know, man. It just feels too inauthentic. And he said this, and I was like, so we're like, get an order drink. You never know. First time you meet someone, like, beer, wine, nothing, soda, water, Diet Coke, whatever.
Did he order the same thing?
And I was on staycation.
Okay.
So I ordered an old fashioned, which I love old fashions. And he said, I was gonna mirror whatever you got, so I'll have the same thing.
Did he use the word mirror?
Mirror. He think he did, yeah. If I remember right.
Man.
Or I was gonna copy you, something like that. I don't know. It just all goes in the same bucket, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I just it gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit.
I think when you notice it that much and it's like that advanced, then you're kind of like, ooh, are you like, don't try to manipulate me. You know what I mean? You start to but I do think people do it subconsciously. This is actually something that we were taught in acting, in my acting days.
Yes.
But it was more like, not exactly mirroring, but when you were doing a scene with someone, you didn't want to like cross your arms. You wanted to remain open.
Yeah. Let them in.
So the same way, like you leave your arms uncrossed, you leave your legs uncrossed.
Yep.
And I do this to people too. And I wonder if this is annoying to people. When people are speaking, especially like in a public setting, I make direct eye contact and I nod and I smile because I want to I'm a big encourager.
Yes.
And I know that it can be really like overwhelming to people in those moments. And so I'm there like, you're doing people coming. So I don't know. Maybe we all have our weird things. But.
Yeah, and this is which I hate about it, because this guy was he's going to be a great connector. I'm going to recommend him some people. And I loved my conversation. And it could have been me. That's the other part that I'm checking with myself. I'm like, maybe I was like being overly sensitive to something. But I and part of it, this is not necessarily good. You look for people who are I'm more like counter dependent.
Okay.
Like if you like, I'm going to get a white wine. I'm like, I'm not a white wine guy. I'm going to get my thing.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like we can live in that same space. And I think that's great.
That's why we do a podcast together.
Right. Correct. Exactly. Totally.
In some ways, we could not be
more different. No, but we can live in the same space with harmony.
Yeah. I like that.
So, and I don't know. But it's a thing that people have taught. I know our listeners probably going to edge south a little bit on the age spectrum, that they probably weren't taught mirroring.
Yeah.
Like we were in the 80s and 90s taught mirroring. You like practiced how to do it.
That's interesting. Well, okay.
It's manipulative. I feel like.
Okay, let me push back on this for a second.
Okay,
like,
all right.
I don't know that I necessarily disagree with you. I kind of just want to dig into it. So, like, let's say mirroring, when I'm on a call with somebody and their energy is like, they're like type A, to the point, get whatever. Because I'm like, I could talk all day.
Yes.
Let's have a conversation. Let's hear about your family. But if they're giving me that type of energy, I'm like, I can tell you got a lot going on. Let's get right down to it.
Yes.
Bill, Bryan, Brad, all B's.
Yes.
All men.
I like my brother's name is Brad.
Oh, well. See. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
So
mirror that sort of thing.
You dare me to say it? Let me unpack this. You dare me to say that? I hate stuff like that. Here's the deal. No, but the word unpack, like when people say that, it's so funny, isn't it? Gosh, what were we on? I was on some call the other day, and the person said, so robust is a word that gets used a lot. I'm like, oh, I know what he said. He said this 3 times. This guy said this 3 times in a meeting I was in. Bespoke.
What is
Bespoke.
it?
Bespoke. I think it means, and I'm like, I have a really, you went to private school, I went to public school.
Yeah,
I don't have a good vocabulary. Bespoke, I think, means like special, like unique.
I don't like it.
It's British.
I really like language. I don't like it. I'm gonna say it right
it's a very
here
bespoke,
and now.
especially in software. Like it was very bespoke.
Ew, gross. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm like,
but it's a buzzy word. A lot of software people say it's funny to hear.
Barf.
So
what do you think about that?
I kind of like this as a topic. This wasn't a topic. But let's keep going on this because
I agree.
So there's a debate on. Maybe there isn't a debate. So what you're talking about to me is, and maybe I'm just spinning it, is adaptable. You're being adaptable and you're modifying the core you.
Okay.
Versus doing something that you wouldn't do. And not making your own decision. I feel like mirroring is too, like, I wouldn't cross my arms normally.
Okay.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, think about this with dressing up. Okay? So people say on both sides, you need to match where you're at.
Yeah, right.
So to me, there's a spectrum there, and there's an extreme part of the spectrum. Here would be an example. If I came in to sell to Co-Video.
Yeah.
And I walked in a very, very dapper 3-piece suit with cufflinks. You guys would fall over dead.
We would
right?
be like, okay, pardon my French, we'd be like, who's this asshole?
Totally. You
like,
would totally.
Immediately.
It's too much of a stretch.
Yeah.
But if I came in jeans and had a nice sport coat on, you'd be like, that guy's nice, good-looking dude. Like, not good-looking, but, nicely dressed.
Yeah,
right?
looking,
Yeah, thanks.
Made an effort.
Yeah, it's exactly tried, yeah. And if I came in jeans and a T-shirt, I'd probably still be cool, right? I'd be good, like kind of fit in the culture.
Yeah.
If I came in hoodie, shorts, and a flip-flop to sell to you, you might be, bro, little too much, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
Isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, so and then we have Zoom, right?
Yeah.
So now we have background, okay? And there's like, well, dogs and kids and okay. But then there's a point you're like, dude, fucking turn around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right,
You look like you're sitting in your bathroom.
There's a level of distraction too that sometimes I can be like, I don't mind, because one of the things that I actually have loved about, being pushed to more virtual stuff is like, I think people kind of drop their guard a little bit more.
Yes.
We see each other as real people.
Yeah.
We know what's, it's like, hey, I get it. No big deal. You got kids. You're trying to homeschool. You're trying to do this and that. But there's also a line where it's like, we set this time aside together. The same reason I expect people to be on time.
Yes.
It's just a matter of respect.
Yes.
Like, we've set aside this time together. I would like to have your attention. You have mine. Let's be reciprocal in that way.
Yeah, right.
So,
right.
I don't know. But
yeah, well, let's keep this going then. So then there's that. So then there's all the other things that come along with that. So I think what we're talking about now is like, how much do we match, and we have to remain ourselves.
Yeah.
One of our core things at Blaine Zebra is authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah.
And there's still an element. Yeah, you're right. So let's talk about cussing. So Gong, one of our favorite partners, Gong, who we're power users of, has lots of stats. And one of their fun stats, and I was actually on their podcast with Devin Reed, their head of content, was about, does cussing help or hurt selling process? Do you remember this?
I do, because it's one of my favorite stats. Because I was
It's a great
hell
stat,
yeah.
right? So
because it
it
helps.
influences, I think, up 30%. The deals where the cuss close 30% higher than deals where you don't.
Barring when you are being authentic, right?
Yes,
like when it. Go ahead.
There's another element to it.
Tell
though.
me. Okay,
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
The customer has to cuss first.
Oh, that makes perfect
Customer
sense.
has to cuss first. Once they cuss and the cussing gate's open,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The cussing.
Now we can go, but that's what happens, isn't it? You kind of wait and you feel it out, and the next thing you know.
That's true.
Okay.
That's so true.
So do you think that's it? Like, I cuss. I
me
just
too.
dropped an F-bomb, right? And
Yeah,
we're getting
yeah.
explicit rating for Sales Unscripted as we should. That's okay. It keeps the kids away.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I
Yeah.
think because here's something else that I kind of party with now, like later in my life too.
I love you party with ideas. It's different than what you partied with when you were 23 in Broderpool, right?
Totally.
Were you Rock Lobster, or were you? So for non-Indianapolis people, there's a little area called Broderpool. Both of our offices are near there. Most people, no matter how old you are, spent some time after college in Broderpool or in college.
Some bad.
Some good, some bad. Yeah. Most people have stories about this area in Indy.
Yeah.
And so what was your?
I was an OPTs girl.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Does
for
that
those
make
of
you
you who
think
don't
more or
know,
less of
no,
me?
that's great. It's actually cool. So cool chicks and guys, that was like a cool place to be.
It was.
Like,
it was a little bit more
going
relaxed.
to OPTs. Yeah, it was
You're
pool.
gonna
Shoot some pool. Right.
Exactly.
Maybe jukebox.
Get a bucket of beers.
Occasionally a DJ, but not really a dance place. Right.
And then you can go across the street to Rock Lobster, and it's a completely different vibe. You're getting like a birthday bucket with like, very pre-COVID. There's like 10 straws, and everybody's drinking out of this one bucket.
And there's a little stage.
It's
and everybody's
bad.
been on the stage in Rock Lobster.
Oh, totally.
If you haven't lived, everyone has been on the stage.
Okay,
right?
last quick aside. Do you remember the mine shaft?
Well, I was going to ask you where you thought my go-to was.
Was it the mine shaft?
Are you kidding me? I owned that place.
Oh
I owned the mine shaft. The mine shaft, and I love to dance.
Yeah,
and
me
I think
too.
I'm a good dancer. I'm actually okay for me, for an old dude. So, but there are mirrors there.
Totally.
So you can
The mirrors were
see
key.
yourself in the mirror.
They
You
were
can also
key.
kind of scan the room backwards. It's the best.
Do you remember also the DJ booth had a window
Guys
in it?
my age, he DJed. He's still DJing. I ran
No,
into him
you're
a few years ago.
kidding.
No, yeah, seriously.
Legend. I
Legend.
would like go up there
And-
and like be like, "Can you play Prince?"
And you know what? He plays. He's the best DJ because he'll play anything you want. Like if you just say,
Anything.
"Can I play Prince?" He's like, "Got it next." He'll just put it on. That's how
Anything.
DJs should be. How the hell did we get here?
I
That's why
don't
this is
know.
unscripted.
I know. We
But
got to
we're-
go back.
We're talking about cussing and sales process is how this started.
Okay, here's where I was going
Go
to
ahead.
get to.
Yep.
I think that now professionalism is overrated.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
I know.
Like it. That's good. Keep
But,
going.
like,
I like it. I like it.
I mean, like, the kind where like you show up, you got your
Yes.
suit on, and
Yep.
like, you're very using buzzy language,
Yeah.
super formal. Like to me, that puts on an exterior that is hard to get through, and then it makes you unrelatable. It makes people, in my mind, also stiffen up around you, and
Yeah.
their guard then is up. And the whole way to get through on great relationships, particularly in sales, is to like you kind of have to drop your own guard first.
Always.
To encourage
Always.
them to do the same. It's sort of like, hey, if they cuss first, then the doors are open. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if we drop our guard first, it gives them the opportunity to do the same and get real, and then you can get down to shit instead of
Right.
like doing all the like back and forth sales peacock dance,
Yes,
where
the
you're like
niceties.
showing
Oh my God.
this sort of
It was
thing.
awful.
That
I
was
had
my
to
weird
do that.
peacock
I had to
dance.
do that though. I worked at Procter and Gamble. I had to wear a suit every day in a
No.
grocery store. And I called on grocery store managers. I had to wear a suit every day. First of all, I was broke because even cheap suits, when you buy 4 of them, you need basically one for every day and you rotate.
Yeah.
It was awful. Oh my God, it was
My
awful.
brother has a saying
So
about
mean.
I'm not trying to like shit on Joseph A. Banks, but
Oh,
he
that's
was
allowed.
like Joseph A. Banks, where you can get 3 ill-fitting suits for the price of one.
So true. So true. I worked for a guy. He's like, you need one Armani suit. That's all you need.
Ooh.
One Armani suit. It's beautiful, tailored, everything else.
Yeah.
See, I'm with you on this too. It's such an interesting dynamic and a shift. And so there it goes the other way. So I have a VP of sales who's in his late 40s, who was being sold, and he's a big buyer. He's got a big checkbook. I know he does because he pays us a lot of money, and I don't know how big they are.
Yeah.
And he was being sold to by a technology company that everyone listening to this podcast knows and uses. I'm not going to say who it is.
Ooh,
but the person who was on the other end, it was like team selling. So there was like an AE person, but there was an, I don't know if it was the CS person or not, had a hoodie on, had the hoodie up.
Oh,
and he's not from the United States.
Okay.
And his culture is more formal.
Oh.
But he's a sport coat guy. He's adapted, but and he was completely put off by this person with their hoodie up.
Yeah.
And you got to watch the other side of that, don't you? I think
true.
Too often, especially tech companies, or a lot of SaaS tech companies will be listening to this, that it gets a little too loosey-goosey.
Yeah, okay,
a little
that's
too
fair.
cool for school.
Yeah.
There's a balance to it. And I think from today's podcast, I think what we want you thinking about is just your own philosophy of that. What is your philosophy? And do you try and do you adapt and do you stay authentic? I think that's the trick, is to stay authentic and be comfortable adapting, because we can't be so rigid that we don't adapt.
Well,
right?
that actually comes back to the respectfulness that we were talking about, right?
Yeah,
in terms
right.
of like giving someone your attention, showing up on time.
Yeah.
It is a respect thing too,
Yes.
in terms of, maybe different cultures or different industries.
Yes.
So yeah, you do kind of have to check that.
Yes. And the question I ask myself is, can I maintain my authenticity and adapt at the same time?
Yeah.
And usually the answer is yes.
You're right.
Now, there's a point, where it's like, if someone said whatever, they said, hey, if you ever utter a cuss word, we're going to fire you.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take a pass.
shouldn't do
No,
business
I'll probably
together.
just sit here, because the odds of one slipping out probably pretty good over a
Yeah.
course of an annual contract.
Yeah.
But I just think, now let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this about you, but it's kind of interesting. Because I was late today.
Not
were on
by
time.
much.
Not by much. Okay,
Yeah.
but there's a thing.
Yeah.
So now I know that you're an on-time person.
I am an on-time.
You're an on-time person. So now I know.
Except for that one time that I
That you totally
missed
blew us
our
off, which
meeting
I wasn't going to say.
completely.
But now, so I've got that in the bank if I ever need it. Margaret
Yeah.
just totally didn't even show up, which might be better than just being late.
I
Then you're just,
don't
it's
know.
a total miss. It's
I
okay.
called you though, and I literally,
Oh,
I was like,
well,
I
let
was
me
like,
ask you this.
is
How did you, this
disrespectful.
is great. No, but let's play this out.
All
Okay.
right.
Because let's pretend I was I wasn't the buyer, we're a team, but I was here, we were ready to go. And then Margaret no shows, like just straight up no show to meeting.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Be honest.
How did I feel
Yeah.
about no showing?
Yeah.
Oh, I was mortified.
For how long ish? Like,
I'm gonna say half a day.
yeah, right.
Yeah, half a
Okay.
day.
How bothered do you think I was that you no showed?
After I talked to you, very little.
Like, and this isn't a respect way the other way. That literally never bothers me at all. I have grace for people making mistakes, and it's not like the end of the world. It wasn't like we had heart surgery planned that you're going to like fix my heart and I might die now.
That's true. That's
The shit happens. And so it happens. I have just super high tolerant for people to be late and or even no show.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a buyer of mine and you no show like 4 times in a row, I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah,
a
it's
different indicator.
Yeah, I agree.
But what's interesting about this is, here's where I think, so this is funny. This came up in church yesterday for me. They talked about the golden rule. I think the golden rule is flawed.
Oh,
You know what the golden rule is?
treat others the way you want to be treated.
I think it's completely backwards. I think you should treat others how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. I think it's very selfish to treat others how you want to be treated, because that means everyone should think and believe like I do, and it's not accurate at all. I think it's the opposite.
That's actually really
You with me on that?
true.
Interesting. The golden rule is broken.
Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like, you ever read the book about love languages?
Oh, you love it.
Right?
Love it.
So, and like,
New podcast alert. We'll do love languages for salespeople. Yeah.
we'll
Meow.
bring my boyfriend Derek in. We'll bring in
Steph
your wife
in.
Steph.
Correct. She's right around the corner. It's great.
Oh my God.
Love
Okay,
it.
so love languages, and this was something that was an epiphany to me, because it's kind of the same thing,
It is
right?
the same
Where
thing.
my love language, I don't care about gifts a fig. Doesn't matter to me at all. But I have people in my life that they were like, wait, you didn't get me a card or like a gift for my birthday? And I'm like, ooh, is that
No.
on me? Because it's not a priority for
Correct.
me, but it is for them.
It is.
So, hey, wow, weird.
That's good.
Golden rule.
Think about it, though, shifting it around. So now we know. So now I know you're an on-time person. I can adapt and try harder and or let you go. Or no, you might be bothered by that, and just acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And you can now know that it doesn't bother me. Now,
That's
it
good
does
to
not
know.
like permission like to be late and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But just know that you may not beat yourself up so bad.
Okay.
Maybe you beat
I
yourself up
swear
for
I'm
5
not gonna
minutes
be
instead
pissed
of
like
half
if you're
time.
a little bit late. It's not a big
I understand.
deal.
No.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, well, and on the flip side, too, there's a part of me I'm like, I'm sorry if you're pissed.
Yeah.
And I'm late. Like, it's not going to bother
are you
me
gonna
either.
do?
Right.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't like undo. I can't go back and be on time now.
Yeah.
It's like too late.
Yep.
And the love language thing, we got to do that on we should do that on Sales. I love
Valentine's Day's already happened.
Oh, well.
Dang it, I love a theme.
We have Sweetest Days in October. It's the most capitalistic theme holiday ever. Sweetest Day. Hallmark invented it, didn't they? It's in October. Some random Sweetest Day.
I thought you were talking about Halloween. This is a different day?
No. Sweetest Day is like its own holiday in October.
I've literally never heard of this.
I think it was invented by Hallmark, which is a brilliant move as a capitalist. But I'm like, geez, oh, Pete. That love language, because that's what you do. That's why love language exists. Yeah. And it got in the way of my first marriage, to be honest. Like that, we were for 20 years doing the wrong thing.
I'm just doing
what
I
what's
want.
Wrong? Yeah. And then when you expect the love back the way you want it, you don't get it. Then you think the person doesn't love you, which is wrong. But that's what you think.
I know.
It's great. Okay, we'll do that on another episode.
Man, we've covered a lot here today.
That's why this is Sales Unscripted, because we had a totally different topic planned, and here we riffed on this stuff. But hopefully you're listening to this going, holy shit, my head is spinning. The golden rule is wrong. Wait a minute, I got to call my priest or pastor. Whoopsie daisy.
Also, read the love language book.
Yeah, and should I mirror people, and how should I dress for sales calls? Gosh, that's a lot.
Now I'm marrying you.
Did you? Oh, I thought
it's so uncomfortable. It's so
robot?
uncomfortable. I can't do it. No.
Can you break dance?
No, not at all. Look at me.
I think I
can break dance?
You can break dance, surely. I'll teach you.
I have to say though that it was actually one of my if there was something that I could do, like that would be, and I would be called the Slim Reaper. That's my name, isn't it great? The Slim Reaper.
I'm just trying to go back to my buddies I broke dance with in the 80s and think if we actually had nicknames. I don't think we did. Well, we had nicknames, but
not for their breakdancing.
We haven't done high school nicknames.
Oh, what okay, well.
What was yours? I have several.
I had a couple. Some were good. Well, people
call some were good.
most people now call me Marge. Like almost.
Do you like that?
I don't mind.
I think you're Marge in my phone, actually.
Yeah.
I like it.
I
Marge
sign
is
off
cool.
my
It's very
emails
cool.
as Marge.
Yeah, that's really good.
If I sign off Marge.
Your formal name is Margaret.
It is Margaret.
Correct.
I always introduce myself as Margaret.
Yep.
People always ask me, do you go by Maggie? No, I do not. That's
Yeah.
why I introduce myself as Margaret.
Yep.
Marge, I got called Margot. I also got called from my brother's friends. What did they call me? Oh, Margatron.
Oh, Margatron. Okay.
Margatron or Margolator.
I like that. I would do that. That's a very childish teenage boy thing to do.
Yeah. What about you?
The Margolator. So I was, so there's a basketball player for the Harlem Globetrotters from the 70s named Curly Neal. Mm-hmm. So I was Curly. Most of my high school friends call me Curly. And it's just because of his, yeah. If you look, I've got a high school text trail with a bunch of 52-year-olds that goes all day, every day, and they'll say Curly in there.
Curly.
Yeah, Curly.
That's awesome.
And I love it when people call me Curly. Some older people that I know will call me Curly. They didn't even know it was my nickname. I love it. I've got two friends that call me Curly. I love that. And then I was, because I gained like 25 pounds the first 10 minutes of college.
First 10
So then I became Big Neil and Biggie Neil and Big Daddy Neil and Chubby and...
Chubby? No, come on.
Well, you didn't. Some people do gain a lot of weight very quickly in college, and
Actually,
I did that.
did.
Like it was noticeable. I was the guy when you went back, for the first break, like Thanksgiving. Like, holy shit, did that guy eat a refrigerator? Like, what did he do? Like,
you just went to IU and had a
rolled up
great
and went to
time.
IU and and I never drank in high school. So
didn't?
No, never drank alcohol in high school, and then started drinking beer. And you add that to your caloric intake in college as a freshman, trying to make up for lost time in high school. It's bad.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow. There we go.
All right.
Long way around the barn. So lots of things to talk about in that one. Think about golden rule, how to show up, whether you mirror your surroundings, what to wear, how to talk, be your authentic self. That's a good one.
I would love to hear from people too, because we're going to be throwing this stuff up eventually, like in LinkedIn and all that sort of stuff. We'll do a poll on like, what do you think about mirroring? Is it authentic? Is it not? What do you think about, changing your voice or your tone or your speed? Is that respectful? Is it inauthentic? Is it, whatever? I just kind of want to get people's different take on it.
I love it. So, good stuff. All right. Sales Unscripted. We will see you next time. Cheers.